Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and I welcome all of you back to another Rage video where today, ladies and gentlemen, continuing with reactions to national anthems, have I got a slightly shorter one for you today, but this is also going to be one that I've kind of always been a little bit in my mind to get round to, because I think one of the most interesting aspects of having to do this is that it's got to be open to the idea of like exploring and learning about different cultures and learning a lot about languages and about opening interest of visiting so many countries all over the world. And Kenya, the subject of today's video, is going to be just like one of the now I don't want to say one of those exceptions, like one of the cases of yes, absolutely, it's certainly, I don't necessarily know if it's like it's been fully in the back of my mind for so long, but then again, if I'm really going to go out of my way and say that I almost want to visit every single nation on earth, from Australia all the way down to Zimbabwe, then I feel like I've got to go through with this. And I just kind of want to take this opportunity to go through maybe a couple short things about Kenya. That I know it's an African nation on the east coast, and how it's east to the Indian Ocean. And I know that it has a really sick flag as well. Let me just go into this. I should also point out, ladies and gentlemen, for what they are worth, and you can see here, black, red, green with a shield on the front. Now, I'm not 100% certain if it's just a thing across the whole of the African continent that the colors would be of black, red, and green. And I only know this because when Colonel Gaddafi was overthrown, murdered in 2011, they changed the flag of Libya like almost within a week, from a plain green flag to I think it was black. It might have been red, black, green with the Star of Islam on the cover. Well, the Star and Moon, I should say. So I'm not necessarily sure if the color scheme is just of the African continent, or it's just sort of how it's meant to be. Maybe there is a bit more context about it than maybe I'm trying to let on. Now, again, one of the reasons I've always just kind of wanted to put this almost in the forefront right now is that I'm sort of going into these videos with the assumption that I should go into this with a completely broad and about as blank a slate as you could possibly get. And the only reason why I'm letting you guys know in on this is because I don't want to pretend that I'm going to Billy bullshit people about things I completely don't know about certain things. And at the very least, it means that there's a lot we can learn in the weeks to come, especially because when I do the translation for this video on my secondary channel, Raging Reality International, there should be a lot more open discussion. There should be a lot more things I'll be able to discuss about without any sort of doubt or things that will highlight my blatant ignorance. So I'm just going to say that if you think that I'm just walking into this like knowing everything, then sorry, it's not. This is an experience, and sometimes one of the experiences of life is just to learn, and learning is not a straight line, it's a curve, and this is the beginnings of the curve, you could say. Now, onto the actual anthem itself. Mungu Nguvu Yetu, or O God of all creation, is the national anthem of Kenya. And the lyrics were originally written in Kiswahili, the national language of Kenya, which again is going to be one of a series of new languages out, especially in the African continent. Because I know Botswana has, I'm not sure if it was like Swahili or it was a different sort of tribal language, but I think Swahili is something I'm going to have to like get my head around as well, which is, I think it's going to be pretty interesting. It's, you know, it's always good to try new things, as they say. The commission included 5 members and was headed by the Kenyan music advisor. It was based on a traditional tune sung by Pocomo mothers to their children. It is notable for being one of the first national anthems to specifically commissioned as such. Well, I suppose that's true, because I think the Milli Surud, the what used to be the national anthem of Afghanistan, wasn't commissioned until I think 2006, before the Taliban retook control of Afghanistan in 2021. That's certainly what I can. Then again, well, commission slash Milli Surud was a contest entry, I think, and I'm not too sure if that falls under the same umbrella. Anyway, it was run by the Kenyan Anthem Commission in 1963 to serve as the state anthem after its independence from the United Kingdom. It was expected that the lyrics would express the deepest convictions and the highest aspirations of the people as a whole. That's pretty interesting. And again, it takes actually getting your independence, actually becoming an entire, you know, having all the thrills of a very real civilization. And there are some other things about, like, one thing that always stands out in particular whenever I think of, like, any African nation as a whole, which, again, I'm not trying to, like, generalize things, because, again, what life might be like in Kenya would be different from Senegal, the Congo, Nigeria, for example. But something that always comes to mind, especially when we're talking about maybe like the East Coast running to almost like the spine of Africa, from we talk about the cities like Nairobi or the Ambosio National Park, Mombasa, Lake Nakuru, and the Tavaso East National Park. I mean, again, maybe I can't necessarily remember if Kenya is meant to be like north or south of Tanzania, or sort of in the ballpark of Mount Kilimanjaro. But I think actually being almost out into the bush, out into the rich and almost completely untouched by man, by the West's the mechanization of the world. I personally, going on safari, actually be able to, like, again, and I spoke this a bit more when I was talking about Botswana, actually being able to possibly see an elephant is still one of my aspirations in life, to see what looks like the most perplexing and one of the most captivating animals to ever walk the earth. And I make no true. It is true, ladies and gentlemen. I have always wanted to see an elephant. And again, if I ever visit Kenya, and I do have some sort of aspiration to visit or a large part of Africa myself, and seeing an elephant is certainly quite high on the list. But with all that being said and done, if you guys want to check out the original video for yourselves, links to all are all in the descriptions down below. So let's begin. And all rise, ladies and gentlemen, for the national anthem of Kenya. And the sound is not playing for some reason. Let's try that again. Oh, hit. Sorry about that. Excuse me.
Kenya tunayoipenda, tuwe tayari. na tujenge taifa letu. Ndio wajibu wetu, Kenya istahili heshima. Tuungane mikono pamoja kazini, kila siku tuwe na shukrani.
I like that, ladies and gentlemen. It was short, but it was also very much to the point, and it's very. I think what's kind of like, and this is something I've almost never really thought about discussing with this before, but I think whenever and if you can hear that, it's been raining outside all day, but don't worry about that. Whenever you sort of for me, when a national anthem comes out relatively maybe in the last 50 years, and especially for one with the history of Oh God of all creation, well, specifically 60 years I should say after this, there is something of I don't know whether it's just something that was always almost ingrained into things like national identity, or what almost a consensus about the people of Kenya would say about their home country. But it seems as though it's to reflect, and again, it's something I've always wanted to emphasize and sort of make apparent, is that it's always very interesting how it should be to bring out the very best in people. And certainly one of the ways to do that is through the modicum or the medium of music. And certainly one thing that comes very much intact is that Kiswahili is actually very, very pretty as far as a language is concerned. It's and again, this is something I've covered when I did Botswana's national anthem. It sounds like something that could just be performed anywhere, performed in the streets, performed in church, performed on a bus. It could be performed in the middle of office. It feels so almost very organically emphasized, and it's relatively just quite straightforward and very, very simple to know and understand. Now, again, maybe what I was saying before is that it was always something of a national identity towards the people of Kenya, that this ideology of understanding that we should learn to respect things like peace, liberty, to work together, to protect each other, and to be defenders of each other. And that let one and all arise with hearts both strong and true. Service be our earnest endeavour, and our homeland of Kenya, heritage and splendour, firm may we stand to defend. And that's actually kind of an interesting fact I want to highlight. Defend from what exactly? Is it to defend from hostility? I don't really recall Kenya having any hostilities towards Tanzania. And this, mind you, actually, with that being said, there was a very interesting story I picked up upon a few years ago about something that happened in Kenya. Is that apparently, I think it was a 13-year-old boy was shot dead by police in Kenya because he wasn't wearing a mask outside, and that then President Kenyatta sort of made an apology to his family. I think, because yes, Kenyatta absolutely was still president of Kenya in 2020, which again, it's actually something of a very interesting story to talk about Kenyan politics, and I don't know if it's something that will bleed into a much larger discussion about what politics is like in Africa, north of South Africa and probably south of Somalia, or possibly even as far north as Morocco. But I think that's very interesting, is that firm may we stand to defend. And for some strange reason, with the talks about the fruits of our labour, let all with one accord in common bond united, there's something about how almost the firm to defend. It's almost, is it to defend the ideologies of doing right by each other? That might doesn't make right. And again, this is something you may have heard me do throughout these series of videos, is that we should be learning how to work together, not fight each other. And again, it's been something of a very common theme throughout a lot of these, is that I've not once encountered one national anthem that seems to suggest the ideas of, actually, that we should invade and we should become hostile, and that war is peace, freedom is slavery, and ignorance is strength. I've never really once encountered any sort of national anthem that reflects anything like that. And I hope to God I don't, because I can't imagine something like war is peace sounding very, very, very attractive in Kishwali. No, I don't think that sort of thing in Kishwali would sound very nice at all, actually, the more I think about it. But that's something. And again, certainly when I come to actually reviewing like the national anthem in Kishwali, there's going to be a lot I'm going to be touching upon as well. A lot of things about, again, its environments, its cities, its culture, its food. So if you are maybe a little bit disappointed by things being a little bit vague for this, there are much better examples out there. And again, this is probably have to be answered by someone who has lived the majority of their lives or knows far more about Kenyan society than I do. So I apologize on that front. Things can only get better. So anyway, I hope all of you guys have enjoyed this reaction video to Kenya's national anthem. Please make sure to leave all your thoughts and comments in the comment section down below. Let me know what you guys felt of O God of All Creation. And I cannot wait to see all of you guys again in the next video. Take care and bye-bye for now.
Champ, glad you could make it to the end of the video. I'm super glad you cared this much. If you could do me a great favor and like this video and subscribe to my guy right here. He didn't want to say it himself because he knows I say it way better. Till next time. Mwah.